The learning outcome for this module is to increase your understanding of the problems you have and the solutions available to you through a thorough decision-making process. Let's get started.
We're going to discuss the action steps about increasing your understanding of the problems you have and how to structure a thorough decision-making process. First, you want to decide how to decide. Poor decisions often result from a lack of agreement about how to make a decision among team members, amongst leadership within an organization, between clients and companies, etc. So you want to decide how to decide by making a list of all the stakeholders who need to provide input into the decision that you're going to make. And these include individuals and groups whom the decision affects, supervisors of the process, teammates, clients. Think of everyone who will be affected by the decision. Next, you want to identify who the final decision maker is going to be. Is it a person? Is it a group? Who's going to take the final decision action? If the decision's yours, then you want to create a decision plan that summarizes what information you need, how you're going to make that decision, who needs to be involved, and what your target timeline is. If the decision belongs to a team that you are on or a team that you're not on, you want to work within that team collaboratively to create the plan that we just described, where you want to understand what information you need, how you'll make a decision within that team, who needs to be involved, and what the target timeline is. Next, you want to define the problem. It's critical that you define the goal or the problem that you're trying to get, the goal that you're trying to get to or the problem you're trying to solve. You can ask yourself, what's the problem I'm looking at? What's not the problem I'm looking at? What obstacles are at play? In doing this, you want to try to remove any emotional attachment that you have to the problem and view the problem as objectively as possible. A great technique for this is to imagine that you're standing outside of a house and looking through the window and the problem is inside that house. It gives you the ability to really just sort of be a cold observer of what the problem is. And most importantly, you want to resist making decisions when you're upset or you're frustrated or you're overwhelmed. If you're unsure about making a decision, just sleep on it. Next, check your understanding. When you're identifying your solution, ask yourself, do I fully understand the underlying issues that are playing here? One great way to do this is to ask a naive or uninformed colleague about the decision that you're going to make. Present the information that you have and the way that you've defined the problem and what your proposed solution is. And then ask them things like, am I missing anything? If you had to play the devil's advocate here, what would you say? Is there another way to look at this problem that I'm not understanding? And ask them absolutely, do they have any ideas for solutions? You can repeat this process as well with a colleague who either will be affected by the solution or is an expert on the topic, or maybe is in the team of people who are making the decision, and see if they agree. Make sure to ask yourself why they don't agree or do agree. Next, you want to brainstorm ideas. Brainstorm as many potential courses of action or solutions to this problem as possible. For each of these options, ask yourself, who will support the solution that we've put on the table here? Who will resist or oppose it? Who or what must support the decision to be successful? So, are there potential deal breakers out there or people who can essentially just bring a halt to the decision or the action that you'll be taking? And is there an option that will meet the needs and concerns of everyone involved? If there really is an ideal solution, you should try to identify it and then work to set criteria and action steps that will get you there. And of course, if you don't know who will be affected by your decision, it's important that you really find out, because those are going to be the people who are either going to accept or resist the solution that you're putting on the table. Finally, evaluate your decision. When you're acting on the decision that you've made, you want to make sure to clearly communicate the reasons the particular option you chose was the one that you chose. You also want to try to proactively address any potentially unpopular aspects of the decision that you've made. Go out and examine people's reactions and the early outcomes or feedback about the decision that you've made. Try to evaluate this feedback from two angles, your logical side and your gut. You want to ask yourself things like, is this decision the very best among the potential options given the ultimate goal that I want to achieve? And does this decision align with my most deeply held values? If you believe that you've identified the correct course of action, but you're meeting resistance, allow people to share their concerns with you. Get the feedback from them about why they're concerned about this decision. Then make sure you state your reasoning for the decision that you made calmly, objectively, and frequently. Ultimately, if you're not getting the outcome or the result that you've anticipated based on your decision-making process and the alternatives and the outcomes that you expected, consider if you need to take more time for the decision, or to take more time for the decision to take hold with the people out there, or if you need to adapt the decision. In the case where you need to take more time, again, it's about stating the reasoning for the decision calmly, objectively, and frequently. You want to make sure that you communicate why this decision came about and why it was chosen. And if you find that it's not taking hold, you might want to go back and adapt the decision accordingly.
We hope you found this module on sound decision making useful. Remember, there's a complete transcript of this video below, and there are downloadable takeaways that you can use offline. Also, please leave us a comment about how you're making sound decisions today. Also, leave us a comment about how we can make this section better. Thanks.